Hello, everybody. How are you? It's me, Greg Berger, joined by Dean, the Beast
Hi.
Sensei. How are you, Dean? Oh, we're back to hi.
I'm pretty
Hi.
good, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely astounding because we are here to discuss The Flash, Season 1, Episode 18, titled All-Star Team Up. This was a phenomenal episode of The Flash this week. And full spoiler warning for everybody, just in case you don't want to hear any of what we're about to talk about. We talk about our favorite superhero shows when Dean and I are joined together on these reaction times where we discuss all of your favorite television shows, the ones we love as well as you guys. We cover all of the Game of Thrones. We cover all of the trailers that are out right now. We basically cover it all. Where your go-to Jesus is. Is Jesus
Yeah.
plural?
No, I think if Jesus was a plural, it would just be
Mhm.
like geese, like Jesus.
Wow.
Jesus I.
Wow,
Jesus.
look at the flock of Jesus. Do we love that? That was awesome. All right,
That's
but
it.
let us dive into the Flash here because I'm so excited to talk to you about these. All right,
I just remembered what happened.
okay, good.
The
I'm
whole
gonna
episode just came back to me.
the whole thing. Dean, let's take it from here. The show opens up to the Flash working with Papa Joe and Eddie taking down criminals and having the greatest time while doing it. I loved this entire opening where Flash, they're just all kicking ass together.
Yeah.
Flash runs into the car with like all these criminals. He's like, you guys are gonna run out of room soon. Eddie's like, what are you talking about, Barry? I have no idea what that means. He comes back with another criminal. He's like, this is the best thing ever. I get to get paid for the Flash doing my job. How'd you feel
Pretty
about the
much.
opening?
I love the opening, dude, and that was really true to the character. Like he's kind of Spider-Man-esque in that he's like a little bit cocky.
Yeah.
In the comic books, which I was waiting to see that kind of come out of him. It does here and there, but we're seeing it start to come out more and more.
Yeah,
And
he's very witty.
yeah, I like that a lot.
And it's not like the corny witty like Captain Cold, Leonard Snart. It's like
No.
witty, like I actually chuckle at half the stuff he says.
And it fits his personality
Yeah.
because like he's like this skinny dude. He's super
Yeah.
fast. He doesn't give a shit. He's just super cocky about it. I like the opening was really cool.
Yeah, and we'll get to actually the skinny reference in a moment because Felicity does mention that in this episode. We then see a woman leave her hospital or research facility, sort of a deal here. And when she leaves here, she gets into her car only to find hornets in her car vents. One of my biggest fears. This was stolen straight out of a movie that I can't remember what the film is, and I feel like they've done this in like scary movies and stuff before, but like the bees literally come out of her air conditioning vents, stab this woman to death, and she can't go anywhere or do anything because apparently you can't open up a car door quick enough to get out of the car. But they sting her to death. That's one of my biggest fears in the world. And that turns out to be our villain of the week this week, which is Brie Larson, played by Emily Kinney, which if you guys watch The Walking Dead, you probably recognized her. She was the character Beth on that show. I know, Dean, you don't watch The Walking Dead at all.
I don't, but I want to. It's on my Netflix queue. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
But Emily Kinney is awesome. It's so good to see her alive and in a different universe now. And she's pretty badass as a villain of the week.
Spoilers, dude. You just told me that she dies on The Walking Dead.
Wait, what? No, I didn't.
You did. You said it's so good to see her alive
in another universe.
Show.
In another universe.
I know what you did.
You just did it.
So you just confirmed that you didn't. You totally didn't.
Well, this is a Flash reaction time, and now I'm moving on, you son of... You're going to forget by the time you watch the show. You thought the show was about a guy who breaks his leg on a fire hydrant, so please.
I know that that's what the show is about.
I hate him, everybody. I hate him. So Barry and Papa Joe discuss telling Caitlin and Cisco about Harrison Wells now that they're still investigating him and trying to confirm that he is the Reverse Flash. The Star Labs gang gets a call about the metahuman that's controlling these honeybees until Felicity interrupts and introduces Ray to everybody. And in this awesome kind of like Superman-esque moment, he's flying around and Caitlin steps up. She's like, it's a bird. Cisco sets up. He's like, it's a plane. And then Felicity's like, it's my boyfriend. And I love that whole scene. How'd you feel about them all meeting?
I liked it, and I like the reference to Brandon Routh's stint as Superman made me happy.
So good, right? I'm just so happy. I love that this show just doesn't care. Like, they have no regard. Everything that we think in our heads, they're like, yep, we're going to nail that, and then put that actually in the show.
Yeah.
It's so good. Ray and Felicity get situated, and their interactions between, like, all the little crew members, they're, like, all little one-liners, but if you catch them all, they're absolutely hysterical. I was dying laughing. Brendan Routh says, I'm the Atom, and Cisco's like, are you stuck with that name? Or like, can I like maybe make up a new one for you? I was dying at that. And then Caitlin kind of walks by and makes a reference, kind of a nod to Batman and Arrow and everybody. What's with all these billionaires becoming superheroes? Like, why is that their thing? And then the last quote I wrote down here is Ray and Felicity have this banter back and forth, and they end up exclaiming how the sex is fantastic between them, even though they're both awkward human beings. And Caitlin turns around, she's like, oh my god, there's two of them. Like, they're the same exact human, which made me chuckle. And then Iris suspects something is up with Eddie. Remember, Eddie only found out that Barry was the Flash last episode, and they kind of, throughout this entire episode, have this string of fights, ultimately ending up in these two, I guess, going on a break. They're not technically broken up, but like she's moved back in with Papa Joe and Barry. How do you feel about their storyline this episode?
I don't really care. As I've said before,
Yeah.
I'm over Iris in a big way. Unless she's gonna be something crucial now and like just be with Barry and like let's get something going, then like I don't care.
Especially now that she's lost Mason, the old mentor at the paper place. Like I feel like that was her one driving force, and now that Reverse Flash killed him, like she has no story thread to keep her there besides Barry's penis. And then we see Emily Kinney once again, the reveal of her playing Brie Larson. And Cisco and Ray are working together on the suit when he remembers that Wells, like, he has this kind of like a flashback, but it's not technically a flashback. He gets like visions of the alternate timeline where Wells stuck his hand through his chest and ripped out his heart. And this kind of plays out throughout the whole episode here. And he keeps getting all these flashes whenever somebody brings up Wells. What do you think is causing this, and why is it only Cisco that remembers?
I think it's just because of the time. I think certain things are bleeding through the timeline, and it's starting to trigger things that happened in his memory from the original timeline. It's like I think just when Barry went back, things got skewed because it's not natural for the time continuum to be interrupted. So like now things are starting to bleed through.
150%. And now we have Caitlin, who interjects and informs Barry of the killer bees. They're not technically even real life bees that are just going and attacking. I thought her power was going to be that she could control like nature or like insects somehow. The power is actually that she's like this super hacker genius and she can control like robotics and like metallic stuff in a way. So all the bees turn out to be like bee robots that have all this poison in them. And the Flash rushes over to find another dead victim as Caitlin's trying to confirm where to go here. The body is then like housing this family or hive of bees is the word, I guess. And they all come rushing out and they sting him basically to death. He dies. On the street there, and Papa Joe comes rushing over to him. They all get there at very convenient times, I want to point out. Like, he seems so fast, and then, like, 2 seconds later, Papa Joe's there. I'm like, how fast is he? Because, like, there was traffic on the way. And then he gets done into cardiac arrest, and Harrison Wells kind of saves him here. There's a chest plate in the Flash suit that, like, revives him. How awesome was that? How'd you feel about this whole scene?
That was awesome, but I'm a little confused because, like, he essentially is a defibrillator.
Yeah, right?
It's weird. Like, why would you need? I don't know. Like, wouldn't your? I don't know. I get it, I guess, but it's just kind of odd. Like, why would you need a defibrillator built into your suit when you have like electricity, like essentially like coursing through you at all times?
And it kind of makes him later in the episode. Cisco does get stung by a bee when he takes a bee for Ray as it's going after him. And when he takes the bee, he then discovers he's like, oh wait, I could like make chest plates basically out of my hands by vibrating them really fast. And when he does the friction, he comes up with that idea. But I thought that was cool how he's kind of like still learning things from Wells, even though he doesn't trust him at all at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
That was like an awesome parallel throughout the episode. We then see an awkward interaction of Cisco trying to like, or Felicity and Barry are talking about everything that happened with Wells, and he kind of lets Felicity in that Wells killed his mom and all this stuff happened, which Felicity handles really well. She's like, you don't think I know about bad stuff? Hi, the League of Assassins is trying to kill my best friend / guy I'm still in love with. She's like, Thea and Roy are like in prison. She's like, my life is worse than yours, but let me deal with your minuscule problems over here in darling Central City, where everything's all happy and gleeful. So they bring up how Cisco was directly responsible for getting Barry stung to death because he led them down the wrong corridor. And then Barry kind of has this freak out moment of, what if I tell Cisco and Caitlin? Will they turn on me just like because Wells is their mentor and everything like that? How did you feel? Did you trust Cisco and Caitlin to handle the information?
I never had a doubt about Cisco and Caitlin. I trusted them the whole time because I mean, there's no reason not to, because they kind of screwed themselves out there. Because in the first timeline, we already saw that both of them were not in on it at all.
Yeah.
So like, just because this timeline is slightly different, it wouldn't change that. So they were trying to make it like this whole thing like conflicting for like the audience, like, oh, should he trust them or shouldn't? But like, we already know that they can be trusted because we saw it happen already.
And that's the thing that sucks is like, we know so much that they all are slowly like the trickles are happening and they're finally figuring it out. But I think inevitably, like you said, we're going to meet up with the other timeline and everything's going to have to happen at some point, which I thought they were going to do with Cisco. After he has the flashback of him dying, I thought the beast thing was actually going to kill him. Like, I didn't think Barry was
maybe they will. I'm hoping that maybe, I mean, we'll get there, but he does eventually bring that up. He tells them what's been happening with him. So I don't know. Maybe before the season is out, we'll see that happen.
Yeah, for sure. Ray takes everybody out to an awkward fifth wheel dinner date where Barry's playing the fifth wheel. Iris and Eddie are there, and then Ray and Felicity. Everything kind of erupts when Iris kind of has her whole meta school drama fight with Eddie. Why don't you tell me everything? You can't have any secrets. You're cheating on me. I'm Iris. And they kind of break up the dinner awkwardly, and then that's when Barry, once again, exclaims to Felicity, like, all the stuff. He rushes over to capture Bree in the labs when she attacks again. And then I wrote down a quote here for Felicity. What does she say here? Felicity and him excuse themselves, sorry. And then... Oh, yeah, and they break up, essentially, over the flash secret. That's when Iris moves in with Papa Joe and Barry. And then Barry rushes over to Star Labs to go, because there was a bee left in the flash chute. He saves Harrison Wells, and then they have another awkward exchange. And at this point, do you think it's possible for Wells and Barry to ever come to, like, an understanding again? Or he knows too much?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think the descent is just going to keep on going forward from here on out, especially now that he's got Kaylin and Cisco on the information.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, 100%. So they go to Mercury Labs. They find Harrison Wells' old colleague, Christine. She tells them that it's Brie Larson. She got fired at a project, and now she's controlling all these robotics. And now they go after her. When Barry rushes over there, Caitlin and Felicity have this awkward interaction where she goes, wow, Ray's pretty awesome. And she's like, yeah, he's hot too. And then Felicity has a line. She goes, yeah, it's like I'm dating Barry, but in Oliver's body. And I loved that. That's literally who she's dating. And she, like you said, she's such a whore too. So she's like going around to all the
She
guys.
really is.
She has sex with all three at this point. And then they go to Brie Larson, and then there's like this hacker battle, which is not how I thought the villain of the week would end up going this week. But Felicity has another quote here. She's like, Brie is kind of like my arch nemesis. I've never had a nemesis before. I love this. This is awesome. And they like hack it out with each other. I thought that was a cool way to end that, because I knew the Flash wasn't going to be able to like punch out Emily Kinney. Like, that wasn't going to happen at all. But how do you feel about how they concluded with Brie?
It was cool, and it gave Felicity a purpose to be there. Although I have to say, I wasn't really expecting this to be the crossover that was promised.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there another crossover?
There's going to be one before this season ends for both shows, and that's going to have what's his name? Dr. Stein and Ronnie are going to come back for that one as well. And then they're trying to set it up for this spin-off show that they're doing, which we'll get to in Arrow, because Arrow this week, Roy has to end up leaving the show and stuff like that.
Right.
They're just setting up this whole thing, which we still don't know how it's going to work, but the spin-off show of like the DC Justice League, like minuscule team that they're forming.
Yeah, it's like the B Squad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Not even. They're like the D Squad at this point. They're like the worst people. I don't know how they're going to function together in a show, but we'll get to that. Hopefully soon we'll be covering that show. And the Atom makes another appearance in the show. He takes the bees away from everything when they're going to attack Christine. How did you feel about the Atom special effects? I wasn't too keen on them this episode, to be honest.
I haven't liked them yet. There hasn't been a single time I've seen them on screen where I've been like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah, I just think 100% you're right. This is like the B version of Iron Man, and I think they need
It's not even close. Dude, the B version of Iron Man is like War Machine. Like, he's not even close. He's like, it's not working out. They need to either up the budget or just don't show him flying or something, because it looks bad.
It's just weird because they nail everything else. Like, I don't think Barry's running ever looks terrible, but like,
here's the thing. I don't know why. I don't know if both shows have like the same VFX like producers or something, but
maybe
on the Arrow, that effect looks terrible too.
Yeah.
So I don't blame the Flash. I blame whoever is doing the visual effects for the Atom is not doing a good job.
I feel like we've never hated on the Flash ever in our lives, to be honest with you.
I actually disliked the Flash this week more than the Arrow. I actually preferred it.
I actually preferred Arrow too, but that was because we'll get to Arrow next reaction.
Yeah.
But the episode kind of wraps up here, and Barry talks to Christine, the old colleague, about what happened with Wells in the past and after he got into the car accident, and they finally make the connection, and she's like, after that car accident, he just wasn't the same person anymore. And as we all know in the flashback from last week, the old Reverse Flash switched bodies with Harrison Wells, who kind of is related to Eddie. We don't know. He could be Eddie at this point, but that's who is in Wells' body. Next week, there was a preview of all of them talking about stuff together, because at the end of the episode, Barry reveals to Cisco and Caitlin and ultimately trusts them with the issue there, and says that he thinks Harrison Wells is a Reverse Flash. Cisco reveals he's been having the visions, and now it seems like they're going to finally be piecing stuff together against Caitlin's will. Caitlin is very hesitant to join here. And how did you feel about her?
She doesn't know anything. And, if first of all, like, if you're the Flash, if you're working with the Flash, you need to accept the fact that you are not in control right now.
Yeah.
Like, you're on the team. That's great. He appreciates you. You're friends, but like overall, he's the only one with any real authority in this situation, and you're gonna have to trust him. And also, not to insult like Caitlin or Cisco's intelligence. Obviously, they're geniuses, but like the Flash is in the forensics department.
Yeah, he's
for like
amazing.
The PD. So like he knows about like gathering evidence, having like sufficient evidence to like really try and like put his finger on somebody being responsible. So I'd be like, oh well, this is his job, so we should probably hear him out.
And I think they will end up hearing him out, only because Caitlin just needs to see proof, and I think she's just in shock of the accusation itself. But I think she'll come on board. I like Caitlin. I like her a lot.
I like Caitlin too. I like her a lot.
We love us some Caitlin. And then so that's the next week. Overall, I like the episode a lot. Nothing like crazy really happened, but we're finding a little bit more. I think we're ultimately leading up to, like you said, the other crossover episode that's going to happen, and then ultimately the season 1 finale, which I have big expectations for. I feel like something crazy needs to happen. But who was your favorite character this week?
The Flash, always.
The Flash, always. Okay.
Always the Flash. I was a little, now that I've put some time apart between me and the episode, because you had just watched it. You said today, right?
Yes.
I watched it the night it aired, and I was like, I don't know. I was expecting like a big like, oh, it's gonna be the Arrow Flash crossover, and then like, I don't know, Felicity and Ray Palmer showed up, and I was like, well, this isn't what I wanted. But now that it's been a little bit of time, it was a good episode. It wasn't one of my favorites. I actually was under the impression that it was the season finale, and then I found out it wasn't because I saw the previews.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's good, because that would have been a super weak season finale.
Oh, 100% would have been a weak season finale. I agree with you there. I did enjoy the episode, though. I like Emily Kinney as... What is the reference? What is she supposed to be playing? The Bug-Eyed Bandit, I think, or something like that?
I think that's her name. I was first like wondering if she was in association with Hive.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The Hive reference.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still a thing or what.
Yeah, hopefully they bring that back too. We have a lot to discover. And surprisingly, I kind of liked the flashback episodes that we had previously with Harrison Wells and stuff. And not that I wanted that on top of all the other storylines, but maybe instead of doing Emily Kinney as the villain of the week, they could have done another flashback thing. Because I feel like the flashbacks fit really well in the Flash, because they're handling so many timelines. Obviously, he can go back in time now and switch timelines and crap like that. But in the Arrow, it's just dragging on for me now. But we'll get to that when we discuss the other Arrow episode here. That was our reaction time and our thoughts on the episode of The Flash, Season 1, Episode 18, titled All-Star Team-Up. Of course, all of you guys, let us know what you thought about the episode in the comments below. The chat room live, everyone's just saying that The Flash is a good show. Nothing really crazy there. No one really saying anything in the world. The Flash will never win in a race against Derek, apparently. Everybody wants to.
That's the foolishest thing I've ever heard in my life, Derek.
I feel like the Flash would win in any race at any time, because he can travel through space and time. But there's that. Of course, if you want to check out all of our other archive reaction times, and check this one out when it has all of its polish and some music and glitz and glamour, you can do so at youtube.com/levelupshow, level spelled LVL. And of course, if you want to help us improve all of our shows and donate to us, feel in no way obligated to at all, you can do so at patreon.com/levelupnetwork, spelled exactly as it sounds, in a ball that I will place right below you here. My thumbs look weird. I look like I'm pinching. You look like
my hands are like so uneven.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening right
now.
Got it.
There it is.
Okay, God bless everybody. Until next time, until we all see you again, we love you, and always remember to level up!
Level up! Level up! I'm Greg, I level up!
Bye, everybody.